Hi everyone, it's Natalie, and today we're going to be doing a full face of basically what my top shelf is right now. Top shelf to me is the makeup that I reach for very often, if not the things that I use every day, and also stuff that I'm just reaching for a lot lately. I already started with my skin prep. I always use the Belief True Cream Moisturizing Balm. I love the cute packaging. This just is really nice for my dry skin. It adds a plumpness, just some hydration, some moisture to this situation. The concealer I've been using is the Glossier Balm Concealer. This was a stretch concealer, but they renamed it. This is the new one. I use the shade Very Light 2. It is not necessarily my color, but it's kind of close enough. All of the Glossier concealers, and you can pretty much tell against my skin tone, have the sort of ice cream color situation, which is when you get into the really pale shades of a range, they just are a little bit too saturated. So my skin is way more desaturated than this, but because this is a sheer to medium coverage, it kind of works out fine in the end. I like to apply it with this Rephr 21 brush. It is like so perfect for cream products like this. So it's been a while since I made a YouTube video, and I made a Substack article about this. I am writing Substack articles somewhat frequently lately. It's kind of what has got me back into the swing of things. I wrote somewhat about how I fell out of love with making YouTube videos, and it's complicated, but essentially it was just kind of a situation of like elongated low self-esteem, which I won't say I still don't battle with, because I definitely do, and like this is taking a pretty big leap for me to get back out here. I love YouTube. I watch YouTube videos every day. There are so many amazing creators in the beauty space, especially right now. I'm watching Hey Khaki all the time. I'm always excited for one of her videos, and Colorful Indian. She has really amazing eyeshadow swatches and eyeshadow videos that I love, and she's also a really sweet person. I definitely have struggled with feeling like I look really good. I think especially in 2020, I was making a lot of videos and doing a lot of makeup looks for Instagram, which is something I enjoy. I'm just applying this in really thin layers in my under eyes, by the way. You can kind of see how I'm just pressing it and spreading it out. I definitely was struggling after that with just some like how I felt in makeup. I experienced acne for the first time in my life. I was really lucky in school that I never had acne. I took really good care of my skin because I wore makeup ever since. I wore makeup almost every day of my life since I was 14, since I was in the 8th grade, but I was really lucky to have never experienced acne. I experienced acne for the first time in my life when I was about 20 years old, and it definitely affected the way I viewed my skin a lot. I still have it. It's hormonal based. It's basically just like the week before I get my period, I'll get a few pretty large pimples. And I used to get small pimples every now and again, especially around my period, but it just got really bad. And I've figured out things that work for me now with like washing my face more regularly and stuff like that. Things I never had to do before. I've gotten a handle on that now, but it definitely affected my self-confidence a lot. I don't think acne has to affect your self-confidence, but I think it's kind of hard for it not to, especially in this world where we go on Instagram every day and we see people with the like perfect skin where they go like this, and it's like all glossy and smooth and stuff, and they don't have any pores. And it's like, well, we've got pores. It definitely made me stop taking pictures of my makeup and taking video especially. I felt like it didn't look good. Next thing I'm using is this Kosas powder, the Cloud Set in the shade Airy. This is decently new to me, like a month ago or so, but I've been using it pretty much every day. There's a little tiny bit of a dip in it you can barely see. I just use this really small, like fluffy, like large eyeshadow brush just to set underneath my eyes, but not much comes up, so you never get that like weird cakey thing. It just kind of sets and looks like really thin under the eyes, especially because the Glossier concealer doesn't really set on its own. This is just really light, and it has ever so slight hint of color in it. It's a pretty nice match for my skin tone, so it's subtle. I think I've just been kind of struggling with that over the past couple of years, which is why I've not made a video in a while. I was watching Jen Phelps' new video about beauty trends that need to die, and there's a part she talks about where she's talking about looking perfect as a trend that needs to die, and she talks about her experience as a young girl not feeling perfect, and that was well before the time of like Botox and fillers and Instagram. That's the Kosas powder, by the way. It's just so thin, and it literally just sets the makeup. It doesn't really do anything else. That's all I ask for a powder. Because my skin's quite dry, it actually just looks really nice, looks extremely skin-like, so I like that. And I definitely think as like a young person who's young now, who's grown up with Instagram and things like that, that it has definitely affected the way I see myself, the, you know, lack of perfection that I experience. It's not that I don't have self-confidence, it's just that the internet is a tough place, and you can say things don't bother you, and it's true. A lot of comments I've experienced hate on the internet for a decade. A lot of things don't brush me the wrong way anymore. I just kind of brush it off. It doesn't mean that things don't bother you though. The more people point out things or just like things about your flaws, it's like I never would have known that was a flaw. I never would have even thought that it was, if it weren't for the fact that someone said, do you have this? Well, it needs to be fixed. These are the Lethal Cosmetics eyeshadow palettes. This was my first order from Lethal Cosmetics ever. I'd never tried anything from the brand before, but I'd heard a lot of good things. Bad to the Brow says that the mattes are some of her favorites. And I'd heard mixed things about the shimmers, generally more on the negative side. These are amazing, and the shimmers in these have blown me away. They're about the same caliber as like a Terra Moon's or a Cleonid shimmer. They're a little bit like moist to the touch, so I'd liken them more to Terra Moon's than Cleonid. Cleonid tends to be dry to the touch, Terra Moon's more creamy. These are definitely on the creamy side, but they're not squishy. Like they're not overly full of like base product and oils. Like they have a lot of pigment to them. This is the Earth palette. Are you kidding me? Like it's absolutely stunning. I've used this so much. I've used every shade in here multiple times. And honestly, it hasn't even really made a dent, which is crazy because I've been using it for like a month straight. I mean, it's amazing. This palette is absolutely gorgeous. And all of these metallics are like multi-chrome to some degree. This one in the middle is like a complete dupe for Duke from Cleona. And this one right here is one of those like green to green shades that I adore. And this one is this like gray purple base with the green and gold flipping it. This one has kind of that like burnt pink thing going on that's really cool. These are only like $28 and they're absolutely stunning. I love the mattes in this one. I have no complaints about any of the mattes in this one. I also got the water one. This one I have also really enjoyed. I did a photo on Instagram of a look I did with it. The one shade in here that doesn't agree with me is this one, Penguin Sledding. But besides that, love it. And the shade is usable, but it's more like a blending out shade. You can't really pack it on. That's really the only issue, but yeah, I've adored this. And this one here, Yue, is like a holographic sparkle shade, and I really love this. But the green one obviously has my heart, so we're gonna use it today. I've not bought many eyeshadow palettes over the past 2 years. I think I might have talked about this. I think I wrote about this in my Substack article actually. Last year I lived away from home for like a large part of the year, and I had very few makeup items with me. And I did eventually miss my makeup, but for the first couple months I was like busy enough that I didn't really care, and I was still busy the whole time I was there, but I missed my makeup. Yeah, I mean, gorgeous. So I think I'm gonna start with this shade, Bossing Say. And I'm going to use a Rephr 13. a small blending brush just to kind of get that color on there to start. And I'm gonna pick it up in the pan. These like don't have very much kick up at all, which I really enjoy. They do have some, which is what I like. They're not so hard pressed, but they pick up nicely and softly. And then they just lay down just immediately and really, really well. They don't stick. They blend out really nicely. I wouldn't say I love them as much as an attached to Nona shadow, for example. They're not that buttery and pigmented. I do think I like them more than a Blend Buddy shadow though, which is pretty big compliments. And my Cosmic Brushes palette, I'm gonna have to do a video with a look with that one because that was my favorite palette, maybe of all time. But the Winter Wonderland palette, I think I still do prefer those to this, but overall, I mean, these are really, really nice and they just build so well and they blend instantly. Like, I'm just using these tiny little motions and it's just blended. It's perfect. As I was saying, last year I was really busy. I wasn't really in a place where I could make YouTube videos or even like photos for Instagram or any kind of content that I enjoy. I think what happened was it just left my mind. It wasn't something I was thinking about. I was working, I was busy enough doing other things. I did miss it. I missed the connection. I missed doing something I love, which is makeup. I missed the sense of community that you get just, you know, talking to people that love makeup and enjoying it together. It was on the back burner for me. I was just doing like one and done looks with a multi-chrome. I was doing a one and done look, you know, just putting some blue shimmer all over the lids and calling it a day. And that's something I love the indie shadows for, is you can just smush that sparkly shade all over the lid and it looks like a look. Yeah, it just wasn't something I was focusing on. After I came home from that experience, I definitely felt a little just kind of empty about it all, and I've been struggling since then, I'm not gonna lie, to get back into things. I won't say that I haven't had personal problems that, yeah, have just made making YouTube videos hard. And I think a lot of people can relate to these past several years being really, really difficult to them for many, many reasons. I did get a Yeti cup and I love it, so it keeps me hydrated, and I definitely think water consumption has helped everything. I've been somewhat candid online about my own health experiences. In the time that I stopped making YouTube videos regularly, I was diagnosed with IBS, which I'd known for a decade at that point. I've had like severe digestive issues since I was 12, but if you really want to look at it, my whole life, like, there's something wrong with my gut. It's one of those illnesses that is embarrassing and is invisible. People don't know that you're struggling with something, and they like don't really want to hear about it when you tell them what it is that you're struggling with, because it's gross. And I mean, I get it. Like, I am more desensitized to potty things than most people. I still think that I'm allowed to be like open about it though. Like, you know, if you're really grossed out by that stuff, maybe I'm not a person to hang around. But I am working on getting past like my internalized shame about my own struggles with my illnesses. The next shade I'm gonna go into is this dark green Wan Shi Tong. By the way, I've totally don't know if I mentioned it, but these are the Avatar: The Last Airbender palettes, and I fell in love with Avatar: The Last Airbender last year. I had like watched it as like a kid, kind of like casually. I never really got into it, but my boyfriend, he loves it, and it was like super big for him. Oh, by the way, this is a Rephr 23, which is this really small pencil brush, and I love this brush. It's like my new favorite brush. He watched Avatar as a kid, and it was like really big for him, and his whole family loves it, and like they all watched it together. And I think he's also like watched it like older too, like he's watched it multiple times. He told me, oh my god, we've got to watch this if you've never like really seen it. And I was like, oh, it's like a kids show. Like, I like some kids shows, but like generally like I don't watch really any cartoons. And he was like, no, it's so much bigger than that. And oh my god, was he right. I really think it's such a good watch, and I cried so many times. Like, I can't believe it's a kids show. It's so emotionally intense, and like, yeah, there's lots of like kids show moments, but generally it is like a really well put together, a really meaningful show. I think it's wonderful as a kids show that adults can really get something out of it as well. I'm just kind of getting this eyeshadow in my lash line, kind of winged it out just a little with this brush, which is super easy to do. It doesn't really even require blending. The brush just lays it down so perfectly. I don't know, I loved this show. It really impacted me, and I wasn't expecting it, but it was really, really wonderful. And then we moved on to watching Adventure Time, which we had just finished, and because there's so much of it. And I also had a really amazing experience with that, so I guess you can call me, you know, a kids cartoon enjoyer now. But yeah, so many good shows like from my childhood that I didn't even watch that are like really meaningful and have great lessons for kids, but are also enjoyable for adults. I think that that's just so cool. I will say I am a TV enjoyer, like the device itself. I watch movies all of the time. I have my Letterboxd. I'll put it in the description if you're also a Letterboxd enjoyer. But yeah, I watch movies all the time, so I'm not like an anti-TV person or anything. I just never really watched like long form shows. I watched K-dramas a lot. I haven't in a while though, but like those are usually never more than one season. So I pretty much never watched any show that was like multi-season arcs and whatnot, but I really enjoyed it a lot. I don't know if I want to use a shimmer from this palette or if I want to use like a different indie shadow, of which I have many. Let's look. When I made my last Cliona order, I bought the big magnetic palettes from them, which is amazing. I love it so much. I have a good collection going of Cliona shadows here. I think I am just gonna use a shade from the palette. You can see this shade here. This one is Duke. It is just an exact like one Kyoshi in the middle here. It's a little bit more like neon pink. Like it's just got more of like that neon sort of quality to it. But other than that, they're like really similar and two really, really beautiful shades. I love colors like that. I think I might just go for it. I am gonna use the shade Kyoshi in this palette. It picks up extremely easily. I barely touched the pan. I barely touched it. So let's get ready for this. Okay, a little bit of fallout there. I should have put a glitter glue on, but it's too late. So we're just going for it, and it's just gorgeous. I love that. And shades like this go so well with so many different colors. I'm putting it right now with the Bossing Say shade, which is this mossy green, but it looks so good with the shade Dai Li. That's the more like blue toned green there. Like, I love this kind of color combo with so many things. It has the pink to the peach to the gold to the green. So yeah, stunning. And I just like to pat out the edges a little, picking up just a little bit more. Oh, it picks up so easily, it's kind of crazy. I like to pat out the edges to come above my crease slightly because I have slightly hooded lids. I think, you know, people that have fully hooded lids would like come for me for saying that, but I do have slightly hooded lids. My lid is slightly covered when my eyes open, so there is some level there to that. I gotta wipe this off my finger or else I will get it everywhere. I think it just really opens the eyelid to have the shade come above the crease slightly like that. I'm just gonna finesse the blending with this brush that it just kind of has the remnant of that Bossing Say shade on it. It doesn't really have any extra product. I've not dipped back into the pan. I'm just kind of blending out, trying to get a more diffused edge, diffused shape to the edge. I like to turn into the natural light as well just to color evenly disperse and really see how it looks on natural light. Because I don't wear base product, I can just kind of like smush around. That's something I like about not wearing foundation. You just touch your face and fix it. The mascara I've been using is the Tower 28 mascara, the Make Waves mascara in the shade Jet. It's the black shade. They recently came out with a brown, and I'm not really a brown mascara girly because my hair is so dark. I think the black just matches better with everything. This one's a little bit old. I'm honestly due for a new one, but I'm a little bit picky with mascara. I find that pretty much every mascara that isn't waterproof will smudge on me at least some amount, just like on the upper lid, which this one does like really slightly. You can just see this mascara gives like a really nice just like length and curl, a little bit of volume, not too much. It's not stringy or clumpy. It's a little bit dry, which I prefer. I don't really like the wet mascara that feels like you're losing control of it. I know I'm kind of using the wand, like usually they want you to use it like this. I don't like doing that because I feel like with my eye shape it like pushes on my eyelid too much and I'll get like a headache. So I just use the curve of the wand here. I feel like I'm always trying a new mascara, like I'm never using the same mascara twice, only because I just can't find one that does everything for me. I have settled on this one because it smudges the least and it doesn't flake and it's easy enough to remove. I find that I hate removing hard to remove mascara. Also, I tried a tubing mascara. It was the Finding Ferdinand 2 mascara. I threw it away. I got it for free in my package because my package was delayed when I bought the khaki collab. And I really did not like that mascara. It was like so stringy, clumpy. I think the wand that they put with it was not the right wand. It needed to have like more bristles on it or something. There was something about it that was like not right. And then the experience of removing a tubing mascara, I had never done it before. This mascara, by the way, claims to be tubing. It's not. It's like a normal wash off mascara. I do not like the experience of removing the tubing mascara. The like little jelly like clumps get like in my eye and I did not like that. I'm just kind of patting out my under eye. I have been not putting on much bottom mascara. I don't have any on right now actually, and I'm kind of just liking the way that it looks. It's like a little bit empty down there, but I'm gonna put some highlighter, kind of do an Ayo style highlight thing, and we'll live with it. These are still two of my favorite highlights. That's when I traveled, I brought with this one, the ramen one, which is also still one of my favorites. I'd say these are easily my top 3 highlighters. I think we're gonna use the Hourglass one for the inner corner Ayo style situation. I used to be really into the glittery highlight and I still really like it. I'm just kind of lightly dotting between these 2 shades here and then putting it there, just add a little bit of brightness. I used to love the glittery highlight and I still do, but I don't know. I feel like I forget to put it on and then I feel happy with the way my skin looks and then I'm like, I don't want to emphasize something weird going on my skin, and it's fine. I'm really curious about the new Natasha Denona like sort of glass highlighter is what she called it or something, because I love her Super Glow. I also love her like face palettes, these ones, and I really love the cream formula in them. I've talked about that before actually in like the big face palette which I have. I love that cream color, but those were limited edition. I feel like there should have been singles of every shade in those because it's so amazing, and I'm still to this day looking for a dupe of the lime highlighter shade in the dark face palette, the Diamond and Glow face palette. So if anyone has a dupe for that, I would like to know. It's not a duochrome. It was just like a lime color, and I'm still looking for that. You can see I just added like a little bit of brightness, not much. I like the Hourglass highlighter because it's like soft. It's not too like sparkly intense. It's not taking away from that really beautiful sparkly shade that we have on the lids right now. I have been enjoying blushes that once again do not emphasize skin texture because that's been a focus of mine. The blush I used almost every day last year was the Pat McGrath Labs Flirtatious blush. I love that one. So skin-like, really beautiful. For matte blushes, oddly enough, my K-Beauty blushes have been the ones I've loved the most. Ramen blushes are really great for that. The 3CE ones, and this one is from Etude. I think it's more the color of this one is really, really good for my skin tone, as being that like ever so slight like pale color. A more recent one is the Kosas Blushes Life in the shade Swoon. I think this color is just really, really nice on me, so I've liked that. And of course, Khakis, multiple collabs with Finding Ferdinand. This one, Latte, from the Summer Abroad collection. Yeah, I've definitely loved this one. This might be just my favorite blush of all time at this point. This one came into my life extremely recently, like only a week ago, which makes me both want to use it and not want to use it, because I'm trying to show a top shelf, but I've used this pretty consistently. I just want to kind of show it because I find it intriguing. This is the RMS Redimension Hydra Powder Blush in Crystal Slipper. This isn't a new formula, but this is a new shade. And I tried originally applying this with the powder brush I like to apply most of my blushes with. It has like this kind of shade, and it's very and it's very like light, and it's good for applying anything that has like a lot of pigment to it. This is like really hard pressed, so like a natural bristle brush is a must. This is a Refer 19. You can really like, you can go in and that's it. Like, it's so pretty. Like, it's incredibly natural despite having this like slightly shimmery, it's like a matte blush that's super blurring with like shimmers. It doesn't really make much sense, but it goes on so prettily, and it just looks really, really nice. And it is a mystery to me. I have never tried a blush that has this texture. It is a bit of a conundrum, the fact that it is both shimmery and blurring. I love a lot of blush, by the way, so we're going for it. But I mean, it is like matte and glowy. I don't really get it. It is slightly shimmery. If you don't like any amount of shimmer in your blush, you won't like it. Same with the Kosas one. Like, there's like a small amount of shimmer. There's not glitters, like nothing like big glitter particle. Like I'd say like the Charlotte Tilbury ones have like way more of a sheen than either of these do. That's another one that I enjoy though. But it's like so smooth looking. And this color, Rosemary Swift, I believe is her name, RMS lady. She describes this color as a sun-kissed buff, which is a weird color description, but I have to agree with it. It looks sun-kissed for pale skin without looking like brown or red. Like, it is a little bit peachy, I guess, but it's like but it doesn't get like a burnt peach. Like, it's a very desaturated peach, and it doesn't have like a color flip to it. I remember when these first came out, I swatched the shade Maiden's Blush in store, which was the more like brown tone, as like a cinnamon, I think is what it's described as, which it definitely is cinnamon. But it has like pink sort of reflex in it, not like glitters, but that like the sheen is pink, and that just like doesn't really go with my skin tone very well because it's just too jarring. Like, it's just too many different colors. But this one, I am enjoying that. I feel like that's just so livening. Like, everything came together. I have really been loving like cream blush on top of powder blush, whether it's these Finding Ferdinand blushes, which I mean, that's like so gorgeous. I love the frosted glass and I love the green. Like, I love those. Or this one, Lily by Red, is a K-Beauty brand. I love this one. It's very similar in the fact that it has like a slight translucency to it. This is in the shade 03. It's the Love Beam Cheek Balm. And it has like that more translucent, like balmy texture. I'd say it's definitely more like silicone-y than the Finding Ferdinand ones. I'd say the Finding Ferdinand ones have like no silicone feeling. This one has like a little bit of it, a little bit of that like primer feel. but it's like just kind of slightly glowy like that. So I like that it like re-liven the skin and like hydrate that skin texture. It's just a lot about like changing the texture of the skin on the cheek, just like really blending it together. This one is from the Apersky collection, the shade Sunrise. This is like a really tiny Sephora brush that I got when I became a rouge many years ago. I made a Substack article about Sephora. It's critical. But yeah, I'm not even a VIB at Sephora anymore, so that's how my beauty spending habits have shifted. Yeah, I just use a little bit of this. This one in the Sunrise shade is more pigmented and slightly firmer than the Latte shade. I do prefer the way the Latte shade like has that lessened pigment, heightened translucency, but overall, I mean, I'm still really enjoying this pink tone. It just kind of adds like a little bit of livening, like a little bit of brightness, and I like it on the nose, just anything that's left over. For lips, there's a lot of lip products I love, but the really, it's what I say, if I lost all of my makeup in the Freaks accident, like the only things I would repurchase would be these, the Romand Lasting Melting Balms. They're that trendy formula right now that is like the melty balmy thing that is like translucent. This one's the shade Cocoa Nude. I will say the deeper shades of these have more pigment, so just keep that in mind. And they have a like soft fruity scent that doesn't linger. I really love this scent though. I love fruity scents. They're not like overly sweet, but yeah, this one is in the shade Buffy Coral. It's just like a little bit more brown to it and a little bit more pink. It's just like a desaturated version of Cocoa Nude basically, but they both go on so nicely. And like honestly, like these two shades are really sheer, as you can tell. There's not much color going on. I remember Haley's Poston, I really suggested to her to get these in the YouTube comments. She ended up getting a deeper shade that was like really high contrast on her. I assume we're about a similar skin tone because we're both very pale people. These lightest shades are the only ones that are sheer, that have this level of sheerness. It's really just like enlivening. I have very pigmented lips already, so anything that goes on my lips is going to look a little dramatic, but that's just how it is. High contrast girly. That's just what I've been wearing. This has been the makeup I've been putting on. I'm having fun with my makeup. And yeah, I hope to share some more. So thank you guys so much for watching and sticking around to the end. It's a long ride. We did a lot of things we rambled through. But yeah, everything will be in the description. So yeah, thanks so much for stopping by, and I'll see you next time. Bye.